his re-election shows people want reform and greater engagement with. An emotional reunion. Dozens of schoolgirls kidnapped in Nigeria by Islam 3 years ago finally see their families. And the sister of the Duchess of Cambridge gets married, with the young royals sharing centre stage. Hello and thank you for joining us here on BBC News. President Trump says that the first day of his visit to Saudi Arabia was tremendous after billions of dollars of trade deals were signed. The most significant was for arms.
But day two of this tour could be the beginning of a far greater challenge as he leaves the world of striking commercial deals he knows so well to try to strike political deals instead. One of his goals, another experienced leader has managed, and bring peace to the Middle East. And this the president who tried to ban visitors from 6 mainly Muslim nations. But the amount of red carpet they've rolled out for him here tells a different story. His tough stance on Iran has won him many friends in Saudi Arabia.
Always the right hand, right? Always the right hand.
If only teacup diplomacy were enough in a region where some disputes stretch back thousands of years. Supporters believe Donald Trump's got his own long history as a master negotiator. Today, when President Trump speaks to more than 40 Muslim nations, he'll talk of the need to address religious extremism and intolerant ideology, a message some here may find hard to accept, coming from someone who is such a controversial figure in his own right. Simon Clemerson, BBC News.
Well, Geoffrey Mock is Amnesty.
This sale goes through. At the same time, these crimes are leading to thousands of Yemenis leaving their homes, thousands of civilians' deaths. At the same time that President Trump is trying to restrict the Yemenis from coming to the United States. So he's causing problems at both ends. He's complicit in the war crimes that are causing people to flee from home, and he's complicit in preventing them from leaving the country.
I mean, the term war crimes is pretty serious, and I'm sure it's a term that the Saudis would dispute, and also their allies as well. I mean, the UK and also previous administrations in the United States have raised this in private, they've said. President Obama was fairly public in his criticism of the Saudi Arabians' human rights record. It didn't do much good, did it?
It did not, but we also saw an uneven message, and a message that wasn't actually reflected in policy. Year in, year out, the U.S. State Department did a human rights report that echoed a lot of the messages and concerns that Amnesty International did, but it never got reflected in policy. And in terms of public statements, the last time President Obama went and key basis.
I suppose what President Trump would say is that he was elected as president of the American people. He has said he puts America first, and a key issue at the moment is security in that region.
An American first policy would not make America complicit in potential war crimes. It would also not lead to further instability in a region where the U.S. taxpayers already spent billions of dollars trying to resolve human rights abuses and war crimes, and also led to the loss of thousands of American soldiers in that region. An American first policy would reflect our values of individual freedom and the rights outlined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Geoffrey Mock from Amnesty International speaking to me earlier. All right, let's have a look at some of the other stories making headlines now. And China is reported to have killed or imprisoned at least 18 CIA spies in what's being described as one of the worst breaches of US security in decades. The New York Times says the deaths happened during a 2-year period from 2010. The agency declined to comment on the report. Secretary of State Rex said the only way Iran could change its relationship with the world would be by ending its support for what he called destabilizing forces in the region. Here's our diplomatic correspondent, Paul Adams.
In the end, it wasn't even close. The pragmatic Hassan Rouhani winning